So far it's been a month, right, of owning this car. Oh my God. Oh gosh, if you heard that, that was the warm startup, which was amazing. So when you get the warm startup, you usually get the crackles. Cold starts don't. So yeah. Anyway, let me just pull out this gas station here. Okay, everything's cleared. It's a nice Toyota Tacoma, whatever the hell it is. Go back, go around. Can't reach that shit, so let's go back. So things that I love about this car, a lot of things, right? In terms of negatives, the first one I would say off the bat is no Android Auto, but that's a BMW thing. Unfortunately, this car is gonna convince me to go iPhone, so I'll wait until the iPhone 13 and then see how that is. If not, then I'll probably get like a discounted iPhone 12, because I really do miss the convenience of getting your phone fully connected with your car, right? The integration, having everything, especially with this car, I'm going to use Waze a lot, right? Especially in the freeways, you know, got to check for any speed traps. I also have the Uniden R3, which I'll talk about later on, but you know, so having everything integrated just makes it a lot more convenient, and this car only has wireless Apple CarPlay, so that's something I really miss, that of course I've had on the TLX, is having Android Auto. It's crazy that, yeah, I mean, I'll be going back to iPhone with this car, so that's like the only way that like I'm convinced to go to iPhone is, you know, just to have that integration in this car. I'm willing to go back. But I mean, it's not really going to be a huge departure, because I've always used iPhones before in the past. I've only been using like Android since like the last 5 years or so. And I love the downshifts. But when it comes to you know, iPhone, I already have a MacBook Pro. I've always been a Team Mac when it comes to my laptops ever since college. And then I also have an iPad, so it's not like it's a huge departure in terms of like integrating anything that I have. And then so that's not going to be a huge deal. That's like one thing that I do not like about this car, but that's like an easy fix, right? Just get an iPhone. And it's not really a huge deal for me. I mean, at least getting an iPhone, I'll be back to integration with, like, you know, the whole Apple ecosystem, having iMessage, FaceTime, and everything, being able to do all that, phone calls on whatever Apple device that I have. I'm just gonna go through this neighborhood right now, and one of the things too is that. Of course, one of the things that I have to watch out for this car is the oil consumption, especially the 2021 models. Like, there's a lot of reports of it burning oil, so I just got to keep tabs on that. I'm still in my break-in period, and so far there hasn't been any issues when I check the oil through the, you know, the in-car software and everything. There's no issues so far. And I've been driving this car fairly hard at times and easy. I mean, I've always just been going in sport mode. Usually I'm in paddles, but for right now I just want to chill a little bit, so I'm not using paddles, manual mode. But sometimes I like to use the stick shift here to do my shifts if I want to drive just one-handed and then shift right here. So it's still convenient either way. Yeah, it's just one thing you have to look out for. I mean, just read the manual, know what you're doing with this car. Don't go too hard when it comes to how you're gonna drive it, of course. Slowpoke right here, come on. Doesn't even have his lights on. Another guy, come on, bro. Jeez, they're just all staggered. I got green light. All right, cool. Sheesh, all of them were staggered. Cool, cool. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Just instant power with this car. And of course, I'm going to be stopped by the red light. But yeah, I mean, that's just pretty much it when it comes to like driving it. I don't really go too hard on it unless I want to do a little pull like that. This dude grooving to some music right now. Oh, it's a lady. She's got her hands up and everything. Okay. But yeah, this car just gets a lot of attention from anybody of any age range. I mean, it's a respectable car, you know. People respect it, and oh damn, oh, we got a Hyundai Sonata just going off. But people respect it usually, you know. Like, I've not gotten any of the haters. I feel like that's a vocal minority online when it comes to the hate that this car has, controversy. You know, oh, it's not a pure Toyota, it's a BMW. But I mean, if you think about it, a lot of Toyota's cars back then, great cars too. Even the 2JZ, I mean, the 1JZ was helped with Yamaha to develop that engine. Yamaha's helped Toyota so many times over the years. I believe the 2000 GT was the first time that they've collabed and made an engine. And of course, the Lexus LFA, the 4AG for the A86. And of course, you know, the 8.6 right now, you know, the Subaru BRZ and the 8.6, that's mostly a Subaru. And no one complained about that. So, it's like, what makes this different? And in reality, this car is more Toyota than the 8.6 is a Toyota. Because the 8.6 and BRZ, they're very, like, virtually identical. The way they drive, the way they handle everything. The exterior, interior, except for, you know, except for a little cosmetic changes, right, when it comes to like the bumpers and the lights and a little bit here and there for the interior touches. But overall, they're identical cars, right? But this car and the Z4, they have completely different interiors. Toyota designed this interior. Of course, they're using BMW parts where they needed to, right? The infotainment center console, the little transmission here, ZF transmission, 8-speed, that automatic, that's been used on so many other cars, of course. It's not just a BMW thing. And, you know, of course, the B58 engine is shared, but when it comes to, like, the way this car drives, every reviewer has said that it drives completely different than the Z4, and at most times, you know, like, going head-to-head with a Z4, it you know, it drives better, right? Reviewers have said that this car drives better, you know, performs better on the track than the Z4, and can actually hold its own with the M2 competition. So it's completely different. All right, so Toyota did a lot. I mean, if you look at Albon's video on the Supra, he did a whole documentary of this car, and of course, you know, he talked about all the R&D that went into this car and everything. And one of the things, of course, was, who the hell is this guy? Completely green. I don't know who that was. Is that an AMG GT? I didn't even check. No, that's just a Ricer. Never mind. I thought, because I've seen the green AMG GT, and then I'm just like, oh wait, no, hold up, never mind. It's just a Ricer. Never mind. I think it's a Lexus IS. But you know, one of the things too is that, what was I talking about? Albon's video. So the development, you know, Toyota and BMW just went through talking about the platform, right? The shared platform. And then everything else, they went their separate ways on, you know, the way, the tuning, the handling, suspension, a lot of things just are their own distinct thing. The two cars just drive completely different, right? It's just the only common similarities are the shared platforms and the engines. And I believe the brakes too are different on the BMWs. I mean, BMW uses their own brakes. This one's using Brembos. So, oh, Audi, is that no, that's not a TT. Oh, damn, the Audis are out tonight, all right? But, you know, so that's what it comes to. Let me just send this a little bit. I mean, this fucker behind me is really touching my ass. You know, the Audis, or what is it talking about? So yeah, that's what I have to say about the hate of this car. Just watch Albon's video. I'll link it in the description, and then you just learn about this car and educate yourself on how this car is different. And the fact that Toyota actually, this fucker just, oh my god, dude, when you're gonna do that, like, don't change lanes while you're at the same time as you turning on your turn signal. You know, it's already late at that point. It's like, bro, you're already changing lanes. Why would you even hit it? It's already late. Like, okay, all right, they're gonna go to the next one. All right, so at the red lights, gotta watch out for that. Okay, so that's what I have to. Oh, FJ Cruiser in yellow, nice. Gotta respect that car. This thing completely drives amazing. You know what also convinced me for this car, because I know I was talking about the TLX. I was actually planning on getting a new car in the summer, right? So this kind of just came out of the blue. I was just able to get a good deal. You know, just spoken, not really anything on paper, really. Well, it was actually on paper. All right, I was playing with the two dealerships, and then of course. Civic have underglow? I just saw a Civic with underglow. It was like a teal underglow. But that was like the only mod on that Civic. It looked stock, except it had underglow. I was, okay, you know, if that's going to be your first mod on that car, but yeah, so, oh, this is where I should have turned left. I'll have to do a U-turn. I was supposed to turn left over here. But yeah, so what I was saying is that, you know, again, I wasn't planning on getting this car this soon, beginning of April. I was even, like, at the earliest, I was actually planning on the end of the month, or even early this month in May. But, you know, and then I also thought about getting, you know, waiting for the 2022 model, but I thought that, you know, life's short, right? Like my motto, anything is possible. You know, the most valuable thing in life is time. It's the only luxury, and it's like, hey, you know, if I have the opportunity to get this car, one of my dream cars, I'll take it, you know? I'll just take it like that, because who knows? I can be dead in the next weeks, you know? What if in summer I'm not even alive? So if I have the opportunity to get this car and just, you know, experience it and actually say that my first car fully under my name is a Toyota Supra, that just sounds amazing. You know, that's like a huge life milestone for me. Man, people will just be rushing like crazy. And okay, why are you brake checking me? You signaled. You're supposed to signal before you brake, all right? Anyway, so let me go ahead and U-turn over here. But yeah, so of course I was saying that I was planning on getting like the TLX, because the TLX Type S is more practical of a car. I feel like I have to use my visor once I turn around. But I thought about it, you know, I was watching a lot of videos. I always loved the Supra. I love this Mark V 890 Supra too, you know, when it first came out, and I looked at a lot of reviews and everything about it. What really convinced me was watching a lot of long-term reviewers, long-term ownership of this car. So that was one thing that really convinced me to go for it. Yeah. just learning about the car, long-term ownership, and how reliable it is. Of course, it's a Toyota, and Toyota really checked everything that they were going to put in this car from BMW. One of the things that they did was extensively check every single part of the engine, the B58. If something didn't meet their standards of reliability, they would actually send it back to BMW, right? I mean, Toyota, come on, this is the #1 car company in the world. Like, if you think about why would they tarnish their name and their reputation of this brand, you know, all these years, why would they tarnish that? Especially on a big car, a halo car called the Toyota Supra, right? There's a lot of weight to that name. You think that they would actually cut like these corners. Of course they're cutting corners because they didn't develop from the scratch up, you know, from the ground up. But if they did that, this car would be easily well over the $150,000 range, right? Well over 100,000, you know, and they wanted to get it close to the Mark IV being around 40K when it came out. Of course, with inflation, that makes it around the same price as this thing now. So in order to meet that, they had to co-develop it, just the same as it did with the 8.6. And so it's a logical business standpoint, but if they were going to do that, of course they had to check everything, you know. This is a company that has so much history when it comes to its reliability. You know, there's like that fun stat, if I can recall it correctly, like Toyota has, any car that Toyota has sold from 20 years ago, about 80% of them are on the road still, right? That says a lot, and they're proud of that. So this, you know, this isn't a company that's going to slouch on anything. And again, if they made this from the ground up, you know, you would have another Lexus LFA, right? Lexus LFA, of course, that was a, man, how much was that thing? Was that $500,000? And then they only made 300 of them in the world. If I know my numbers correctly, I mean, the Lexus LFA is one of mine. Like, I have yet to witness that car in real life, and I just want to hear that, you know, perfect engine, right? That V10 engine from the Lexus LFA. That's one of my dream cars, other than second to the NSX. But when it comes to, you know, this car, it was a logical decision. And instead of making the Toyota Celica, right? The Celica is a 4-cylinder version of the Supra. They just made a 4-cylinder version of the Supra, which is a logical standpoint, you know, instead of doing that. And of course, you know, back then the Mark IV did not sell well, you know. The Mark IV's reputation and how it became a legendary car came after Toyota stopped making it. The tuning scene, right? That's when people discovered the potential of the 2JZ, and how, you know, of course, Fast and the Furious and all these other things, you know, Need for Speed you're playing back in the day, and Midnight Club. I mean, the Supra did not gain its reputation. I got some room here. It did not gain its reputation until later on, right? Until its post-life. So a lot of what people remember of that car, you know, the 1,000 horsepower, all these things, you know, are a little skewed, right? People don't understand that. They just forgot that. And so that's the thing about this car. It's still new, and people are still discovering the potential of the B58 platform on this car and how much they can push it. And, you know, with just a couple tunes, you can get some solid horsepower gains in this car. So when it comes to the hate and all the bias towards the Mark IV Supra, the 2JZ, yes, it's an amazing engine, but remember, the Mark IV was not a popular car until after its life, right? And of course, Toyota would not, I don't know what that sound was, Toyota would not risk anything. They're not going to risk anything. Like, why would they repeat the Supra if it's not going to sell? So the logical choice they did was co-develop it with BMW and see how the sales go, right? Now, unfortunately, there is no manual in this car, and that's what some people are waiting for, right? Who knows? Maybe the 2022 might have the manual, but I feel like Toyota would actually announce it by now. Or maybe down the line at the end of this Mark V's lifetime, they're going to hit like a anniversary edition, some special edition that has a manual, right? But But I mean, it is sad. I mean, that's the state of the manual car. You know, they don't really sell as well as others. And let me send this. They don't really sell as well as others. So, you know, the logical, safest choice is just to make an automatic manual mode, you know, typical use. Use things that, you know, are able to, you know, taking some of the safe route, right? Because a lot of the haters, how many of them are actually going to buy the Supra, right? Like, how many of them are actually going to buy this car? Because if they even did a 3JZ and then the cost of this car is like $100+, and that ends up making the cost of the R&D of this car over 100K. I mean, you saw the Toyota FT1, the concept of this car was based on. I mean, if they went something like that, that's, you know, a lot of people are going to be unhappy, right? It's going to be unobtainable to the Supra audience. So in order to keep that, Toyota had to make some choices, and this is the best choice that they can make. Again, we're talking about the #1 car company in the world. You think they can fuck this up? That's my thoughts on that. Just cruising along here. Amazing car. There's like hardly any faults. I guess like the fake vents are like one thing, of course, right? But the hood ones you can actually make functional. There's actually air ducts and little holes on those fake vent caps on the hood. If you pop it open, you can see holes, and then they actually go into the hood. I might do that, but the carbon fiber real vents that you replace it with are sold out. There's only one company that makes. And so far, when it comes to Prius, was that a Nissan Versa? I don't know, but there we go. There's my KA band 34732. That's my Uniden R3. It's picking up a signal. There's a cop nearby doing some scans, I guess. This goes away. See that? Very useful. Can be a lifesaver. And I mean, when you look at reviews of the Uniden R3, that thing detects cops miles and miles away. So right now, let's just test this right now. I'm going to try to find a cop if I can. Let me go back to normal mode and close my valve so I'm not as loud as I am. I guess the cop kind of went away. Either that or he's turning it on and off. There we go. Where are you, officer? Where are you? It's getting faster. Officer somewhere. I don't even know where he's at, but somewhere here. That's a good thing, you know. The Uniden R3 can save me. Especially since this car gets a lot of attention. It's red. It's a red sports car, and it's a Supra. So it gets attention from everybody, like I said. Oh, I hate that. When I go back to normal mode, it turns on the auto engine stop, which is so annoying. So I have to disable that every single time. like daily drivable, I say that it is doable, right? Like if you don't really have much to, you know, to really focus on, of course, if you don't have like a family of kids or anything, it's really easy. And if you don't have to make some big grocery runs, that's, I mean, the cargo space is actually really excellent in this car too. For what it is, it's pretty solid. It's kind of, there's no complaints there on that department. Sheesh, when can I do a U-turn? That's what I'm wondering about. Should I talk about? Oh yeah, I'll go over the changes that I've done to this car when I can. Once I get to a stop, once I find like a quiet location. But right now I don't even know where the hell I'm going.
Like an edge of a samurai sword, the mental blade cut through flesh and bone. Though my mind's at peace, the word out of order, missing then the heat.